Hey guys, hope you're doing well and great. Alright, so for today's content, we're going to be talking about building $1 million brand, investing from virtual kitchen. So as you guys know that we are always talking about the topic of virtual kitchen, and now it's not necessarily that you have to have a kind of a property or real estate to operate your business. So what I want to share with you guys is that if you are into food business, right, and you have been in the food business for some period of time, then what you want to focus is not just only the daily operation business, but also you can now focus on building your brand in such a way that you can create kind of a licensing product, right? So you just don't have to rely on daily basis or day-to-day product selling. But let's say if you have a good product, you want to monetize that product in terms of distributing and licensing. So you want to distribute it to different channels as well, basically. So what I want to discuss with you today is based on this PowerPoint presentation. So let's go to the first one. All right, so what we are going to talk about today content is building $1 million brand, right? So we're going to talk about the 4 topics. So the first one would be how to start investing on building your brand using virtual kitchen platform. The second one is how to assess and evaluate your brand value in the market. The third one is brand licensing, distributions for business, contract, lifetime royalties. Better to license than to expand investments. All right, so with that, let's get to the first point. So the first point is how to start investing on building your brand using virtual kitchen platform. So like I mentioned, we are not just creating a product or selling a day-to-day product, but we are also trying to monetize in such a way that we want to build a brand, right? Why do we want to build a brand? Because we just don't want to sell this product from one location. So instead of franchising the business model or something like that, you want to license the business product or the product or the service that you have it, right? Especially when now we are talking about a virtual kitchen, we are creating a product, so which is going to be the food, so you can share the ingredients and the products and all those to a different, restaurant operator or food service operator or to a grocery market as well. So the first thing what we want to focus is, do we focus on the quality or the quantity, right? So to go for a long term in the business, we don't want to focus on the quantity, but we want to focus on the quantity part. So always great brain rely on quality products and service, not on a quantity, right? So they always rely on the quality. That's what we want to talk about. And so how do you get this quality product, right? The quality of the product quality is always expressed or shared by the customer who you serve, right? So here we go, and let's check on the second point: focus on quality product and services. So I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the examples here. Amazon is prioritizing the customers, right? We want to build this brand because we can serve a better way that fits the customer demands in the market. So how do we do? Prioritizing the customer. That's what Amazon has been doing. So if you look at it, there are a lot of other customer service business platform in e-commerce, especially around the world. But why is that Amazon is able to becoming the kind of or able to build the empire in these businesses? Because they focus on the customer. Because who are the end consumer is where you want to make sure that you are reliable and you are kind of an organization or a company or a brand that listens to you. So the more you can focus towards the customers, they will always prioritize you, because that's what they want you to and that's what they are buying for. At the end, they want to buy experience, right? So most customers wants to buy experience, so that's what you are serving to the customer. And so North Face is another company that also focuses on customer experience. So when you buy their product, they just don't want to sell the product, but they want to reward you by creating a kind of exploring environment for you. So when you buy a jacket or when you buy a bag or anything from a North Face, they will give you some sorts of promos where you can enroll and also take part in their next events and all those things, which is kind of a very exciting and active participations of the buyers as well. And the more you buy the product, you enroll and you get more points and all those stuff to qualify for whatever the next events they have it, right? So that's the way it works out. Okay, so focus on the quality product and services. That's what you want to do. And the third thing is focus on customer feedback. So why do you want to focus on customer feedback? Because that's what you want to know, right? You probably maybe not be able to monitor what exactly you want to see, what you come up with in the business is that you have an idea, you have the concepts, you have the manpower to operate it. But at the end, where is it going? Where is the output going to? The output is going to the consumer. So if you do not listen to the consumer, the people who are using or consuming your product, then you won't go far, right? So for example, you have seen the kind of, let's take in our example, Uber, right? In the market, right? People didn't have that kind of confidence to board into somebody's car and cabs and all those things, right? But what happened was they listened to people feedback, right? More they listen, they implement, they work upon that feedback and to assure that they are listening to them, and that's how they were able to dominate the whole entire market, right? Very easy to understand. So Uber, they created features where the customer get to rate the ride and vice versa, right? You should be able to share, or the customer should be able to share your feedback, and you should listen to them by, creating features where you don't have to change the whole model, right? A little features or a little concept here and there to make sure that you are listening to them and you're providing those requirements, those accessories to the customer, and that you get it by providing or reading or focusing on the feedback of the customer, right? Then the fourth one is focus on innovation. So you guys gotta focus on your innovation. You cannot make the same product every now and then. It's so boring, right? Let's say somebody like your burger, right? But does it mean that they're gonna buy every day or every now and then, right? They probably may not, maybe once in a week or twice in a week, so that will be the maximum. But there needs to be a frequent purchasing power for the people. How do you create that, right? Say for example, Tesla cars, right? All they do is what the customer wants it, similar to Uber, similar to Amazon or North Face, right? What Tesla does is they create the car, right? But then they add on the features on a daily basis what this customer wants. Tesla never comes with autopilot. Now they're working on autopilot because they want to make sure the customer can take advantage of that autopilot system. It probably may not be 100% in use in the market, but they are working on it. So that matters a lot, and that creates a lot of value for the brand or the product itself, right? So you want to innovate all the time. Innovation is the key to enhance your skill set or your business or your brand or expand your network, right? So the last one is focus on your community. You've got to create a community for your brand, right? So for example, GoFundMe is a platform where they build up a community wherein the community member can take part in by asking for donations and contributions from various people, because the platform itself is a kind of a trustworthy for people to raise the funds, because they do check a background and all those stuff. So people are assured that this organization is a right platform where you can ask for help or ask for people to contribute towards your purpose and mission, right? So this is what you may want to focus on when you want to do or create a brand. This is the best way to build your brand that will hit the market to $1 million value. And how long does it take? It depends on you, how you market and how you organize the whole process itself, right? So let's go to the next point, how to assess and evaluate your brand value in the market. This is one of the great things that you want to talk about. I have a lot of points in this one, but I'm going to just prioritize the 4 points that I have listed here. So the first one is cost-based valuation, right? You might want to know, should your brand be kind of getting to that $1 million or not, right? Or should you build a brand that should hit that $1 million brand? If you want to understand, or if you want to know how to build that $1 million brand, then focus on these 5 points, right? When you understand these 5 points, move to the next one. Now, once you understand that, the previous 5-point concepts, come to the cost-based valuation. So how do you calculate it, right? calculate brand value based on how much it costs to build a brand, right? It's very, very simple again. And the second one is market-based valuation. So how do you evaluate, or how do you assess or evaluate your product or brand, right? It's kind of a very easy tools, but then you don't really need a big data scientist to evaluate that for you. You can do it by yourself. So assess market-based valuation by looking at the sales price of similar brands. See, nothing is in this world is that kind of original, right? Nothing is kind of a new stuff, right? It's always an innovation, and what does innovation bring is packaging the whole process or a new product or service in a different way. That's it, right? So nothing is in this world is new. It's just already been existed, but we are trying to create the features to make sure that our product fits in the market, which is required and demand by the people or the users, right? And the third one is income-based valuations. Also, you want to know that look at the income generated by your brand currently. How much are you generating? So it's very kind of a good key to understand or assess and evaluate if your brand is going to be powerful or not in the market or not, right? So let's say if you have a brand and you have released a brand in the market, and if you're getting a good rate of kind of a purchase value, and at the same time people are aware of your brand and your churn rate is very less, then probably you are very good with the brand. It's very good. The brand has a kind of a more window to grow right down the line, or you have more window chances to implement on the brand to make sure that it hits the $1 million brand, right? And the fourth one is the customer-based valuation. So how do you assess that, right? Assessing the number of the current customers, predicting number of future customers, and assessing lifetime value to each. So how do you get this? Is by, as we have discussed earlier, create the community. Your community is going to help you the customer base valuation. So people will talk about it if they do really appreciate this brand or not, right? What is the purpose? See, most of the brand in this world, right, in the market, is always attached with an emotions, and that is by your purpose and your mission to create. Why are you doing that, right? As Simon Sinek says, that everything that you want to start in the business is first come up with why. Once you understand your why, the what and where and how is kind of very easy to access it, but you got to know your principle first. What is your character? What is your statute, right? So for that, you need to first think about it, your community. What is the purpose? What is the missions that you have in to create that brand, right? So why do we have to do this? Because we want to hit that $1 million brand, because that is the whole objective and the main purpose of this content as well, right? So now let's move to the third one, brand license distributions for business contact, lifetime royalties. So what I'm trying to explain to here is that, as we have discussed in the starting of the video, was that you don't have to really think about your business model as a future franchise business model, right? You don't necessarily have to establish another branch, another locations, and so on and so forth, because that might would be kind of a little bit hard for if you're a small scale industry and if you do not have a large scale or large big team to operate it. For example, for the legal team, for the marketing team, and for the operation team, you need a lot of people, and it's going to take a long time for you to build up, unless you have a really huge investor or capital which is sitting aside for your expansion, or promoting your business. So what I'm talking about is, if you're a small business operator, this is something that you want to focus on it. Build your brand to a market that you can license those brand products, right? How Mr. Beast has did it, right? Mr. Beast, he just have one product, and that's a burger, right? But he's able to expand those to thousands of other food chain restaurants. And what he does is collect the royalty, and that's what you want to do as well, right? License your ingredients, right? And you become the kind of a promoter for your brand and market them as much as you can. So the first one is, what is the kind of a market of this licensing business, right? The global brand licensing market size right now, it shows here, it says global sales revenue generated by licensed merchandise and service grew up to $3.315 billion in 2001, at a 7.75% increase over $292.8 billion generated in 2019. Industry royalty revenue increased 10.6% to $17.4 billion. You understand what this number shows, right? So what I'm trying to say is that there is a way you can brand your product wherein you don't even necessarily have to have your kitchen, or you don't necessarily have to have your restaurant anymore, but you just have to have that trademark or whatever the brand that you have. If you try to create a patent on food, I don't think so. It's kind of worthy, but instead you want to create a trademark on those food product and sell them a license, collect a royalty, right? So I'm going to give you two brands. Let's say one is the personal and the other one is a company. So the first one is an individual who is a celebrity. Everybody knows it, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, right? So he's a good influencer, right? People follow him, people recognize him around the world. But here's one of the things that he does is that I'm going to take two of those. He has a lot of other product, but I'm going to pick just two of those. The first one is Terramana, the tequila, the brand that he promoted, right? What he does is that he collects the royalty on those business, right? The Rock sells Terramana over $3 billion in 2022, right? The Zao drink, I'm not sure if that's the way we correctly pronounce it, but the energy drink is currently sold at more than 26,000 retail, surpassing 100,000 points of distribution. Imagine, this Terramana tequila can be your product. The energy drinks can be your product too, where you just collect the royalty license, right? So you have to think not in just a small way, think out of the box. There are a lot of ways how you can expand, network, or maximize the business kind of a product distribution itself. And so let's talk about the Disney, which is a big company. You guys know it. So Disney company Consumers Product Unit repeated as a top licensor in the world in 2021 with 56.2 billion in retail sales of license. Retail sales of only license, right? Merchandise worldwide. 54 billion in consumer product sales in 2020 for the studio with iconic properties like Disney, Pixar, Marvel's, the Star Wars franchise, and ESPN. Now you see, right? You can create another Pixar, Marvel, the Star Wars, and all those things with your product, right? Come up with a sandwich, come up with your Baba drink, which is currently it's very famous. 10 minutes ago somebody called me telling me that there is a new Baba brand which is open in Georgia, and the line is quite long. There are more than like 150 people just lining up in Georgia, right? And that in front of the store, so that how busy or how demand the product is. So do you have to necessarily franchise a business? If you don't want to, you don't have to, right? Then what's the other options to monetize your brand, your products, right? License it, correct? So that's the other way that you can monetize it. All right, then with this, let's go to the last point. So better to license than to expand investment. See, your licensing is a part of your investment anyway, right? So you invest, you are a trader, or you invest in stocks or real estate, whatever, right? Very similar to that. If you're in the food industry, you really don't have to learn new things. It's hard to learn new stuff, right? So what you already know is your food business, right? Your food industry. You know how many consumers wants it. How many times do you watch the same movie? Maybe once in a year. How many times do you go to Disneyland? Maybe once in a year. But what we are talking about today, our product is a food product, which is FMCG, which means fast moving consumer goods, which means when people are consuming every now and then, they can consume the same product thrice a day as much as they want it, right? But these are very fast moving consumer products. So that's where you want to focus, and food industry is an FMCG, right? Or some people call it QSR, which is a quick service restaurant business, right? So the first one is a brand licensing market. Global brand licensing market size is just as we have discussed earlier, and it is increasing at 12.6%, and that is going to be the forecast for 2028. And by 2028, it's going to be $412 billion. You know it, right? Our topic is about the M series, which is the million series, but we are talking about the billion here. The forecast shows that it's going to be $1 billion business valuation. So that means that, guys, we have a lot of opportunity to brand our product as well, right? So the last one here is the growth rate stock. Now let's compare with the licensing and also the stock. So what is the average return that you get from your product annually? All right, or until you exit from the business itself, right? So the compound interest is about 12.6% for your licensed product, right? But for stocks, it usually is between 5 to 7 to the max. It might just go up to 10. But then what happened here with the stock is that you might invest your entire money, right? If it goes down, it goes down, it can turn to zero, right? You don't have anything else for later, right? To reinvest on your money. But in license, if one business or one product is not going, you can always come up with another product which has more kind of a demand and meeting the consumer wants, right? That's what you want to focus on, right? So do you want to focus on the stock? Do you want to focus on the licensing of your product? It is up to your discretion, right? So this is my declarations at the end, because I'm not I'm not an advisor on any financial things, but I just want to give you a heads up on what are the other opportunities that you guys have it in this business, right? So the decisions to where to put your money is based in your experience and knowledge of the business. So here's a few things that I would like to share, the key points, right? The first one is to grow a personal financial roadmap. The second one is evaluate your comfort zone in taking risk. The third one is create and maintain an emergency fund. And number 4 is avoid circumstances that can lead to fraud. So you guys should be very, very careful before you invest on any of these financial things. But in our topic for today, we want to talk about how to create a brand that can reach to $1 million business, right? So this is what we want to talk about. So let's get back to our headings. So I hope you guys have a good idea about what we are talking and what is the future and the forecast and what is the other things that you can come up with, not just only operating in the virtual kitchen business. Alright guys, if you would like to know more about virtual kitchen business, I do have a training course. So if you'd like to join on the training course, please do check in the description where I have shared it to you, and just enroll for the course. And in the meantime, if you would like to join our resource group as well, please log into our Facebook or subscribe to our group in a Facebook Virtual Kitchen Resource, and also subscribe to this channel so that we can share you all updates in the market, right? Alright guys, until the next video, you guys take it easy, stay positive, and be safe.